Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Happy Thursday to everybody. I really need to figure out a way to turn the music down in my audio player here to where it's not deafeningly loud, but that you can all still hear it. So anyway, welcome in. Hope everybody's doing well. It is Thursday. It is July 9th. Yeah, 2 weeks. I'm going to be out in New York City for a conference. Looking forward to that trip. Hope everybody's doing well, staying cool in the weather that we got going on. But yeah, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days, but I'm hanging in there. Just want to make sure that everything is live on all the different platforms. YouTube's lagging by several minutes, like 5 minutes. It's weird. But yeah, welcome in to everybody. YouTube will catch up eventually, I hope. Yeah, so anyway, it's Thursday, so we're going to do some live coding. We're going to get into some Streamer.bot stuff. I can show off a little bit of what I've been working on the last couple of days. It's been a busy couple of days, actually since Sunday. So basically Sunday night, so after the stream Sunday night, I basically got YouTube working. So we're live streaming on Twitch and YouTube now. And then, I think it was a week ago we got that one working. And so I've been working on some Twitch stuff that will work across all the platforms. So that's ultimately what I want to get to, is having multi-platform stuff going on. All right, looks like YouTube is live. So hello to YouTube. I don't know why that one's really delayed. Let me try reloading that one over here. It says connect to go live, but I am live because I see myself live on the YouTubes on my phone. There we are. Cool. Well, hey everybody. I got a couple of folks over in YouTube. So hello to everyone over on YouTube. Get Lizzie, Love Dog Willow, and a name I can't read, and Spizzle Prime. Welcome to everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm Ian. I'm the author of a website called techinterview.guide. Normally on Sundays, I'm doing career prep and resume reviews and stuff like that, and helping people with just how to get ready for interviews for the week. I've been in the tech industry for a long, long time, and currently work in an area that we kind of consider like developer education. It's something that we call developer relations or developer advocacy, and currently in the Denver, Colorado region right now. Originally from Canada, and hanging out in the States now. And yeah, anyway, on Thursdays, I tend to do live coding and showing off some of the controls and stuff that I build. I'm basically really in on building out extensions and so on for a software package called Streamer.bot. And Streamer.bot's basically a multi-platform like Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and Trovo, and I think a few others. And it also has plugins and extensions to a handful of other integrations like Streamlabs and Stream Elements and Pulsoid and Pally.gg and some of the Elgato gear like your Stream Deck and your Wavelink and Camera Hub and stuff like that to control cameras and things like that. It's also got some really neat text-to-speech and speech-to-text stuff with a software package called Streamer.bot, but I haven't got that one hooked back up yet. But we'll eventually get that one going back again because that one was a lot of fun. You can also plug in extensions for things like voice mod if you want to make your voice go all weird and funky, but I've actually got a bunch of those. I already got a bunch of those going on my little mixer box over here.
So I can make my voice go really
high.
I can make my voice go really low, or I can do kind of a disguise kind of voice to it. And I don't have to change anything on my side. I just hit a button on my mixer.
And then we're back to normal. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of fun plugins and extensions and stuff like that that you can do with Streamer.bot for making really interactive kinds of games and displays and things like that. So for anybody hanging out over on YouTube, I will have, eventually I want to get a marquee or something going across the screen with the different kinds of commands you can do. But if you do I think it's the static command. Nope. I thought I built a static command that would actually list out all of the other static commands it could do, but apparently that part's not working. Let me try and reload some of this stuff and see if we can get that going. Or there's one called, is it commands? Nope, that one's not working either. Do any of these work? If I do LinkedIn, yeah, that one works. And then over on YouTube, if we do like exclamation point LinkedIn, that one's not working, or it's just really delayed. All right, well, YouTube was working for the chat commands, and now it is not. So that usually means that Streamer.bot doesn't recognize that YouTube is actually up and running. So let's see. It does see that I'm broadcasting. It sees that I am connected. But it is not paying attention to that stuff. So I'm not sure why. Because it was working. Let's see if I log out and log back in. It says I'm logged in. Broadcasts. All right, let me copy this stuff over here. Maybe it just doesn't think I'm live or something, maybe. No, it thinks that, well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Because I'm obviously live on YouTube, because I can watch myself on YouTube. But typing things in chat on YouTube is not firing off the actions that it should. And that's usually because Streamer.bot doesn't think that the broadcast is running on YouTube. Well, that's a pain. Let's see if there's a different one that I can trigger on YouTube. So let me just show you what's going on over here. So in Streamer.bot, when we set up all these things, like make all these things happen when I go live. And if we go under here, under YouTube, under broadcast, there's a whole bunch of things like, did I add a broadcast? Has it started? Has it ended? Are we monitoring one? Has it been started? Has it been removed? Has it been updated? So let's try adding more of these, I guess. And then as soon as it recognizes that any of these events have happened, then it should trigger and then hopefully pay attention that YouTube is up and running. Up here in the corner, it says that YouTube is connected for both the broadcaster and the bot. If we come over here, we see that both of these are set up. We go over to the actual broadcasts. It says this one is live, but I need to update all this. So let me go update all of these. And education, public, save. So that should be working. It says it's monitored. So if we come back over here and we reload all of these triggers. Let's try this again. So if we come over here and do resume command. Nope, not an enchilada. Let's see if we can see anything going on in the logs. RC Maniac hanging out over on Twitch. What's going on, RC? Looking forward to hanging out in your neck of the woods here in a couple of weeks. All right, so we got the command for resume. Command not found in the catalog resume, which tells me none of these loaded. So let me go double check memory. No, all those commands have been loaded. So what I'm seeing in the log is indicating that it couldn't find the resume command, but it's sitting right here. So I know it's working. If I come over and do it on Twitch, it works just fine. So let's try it again over here on YouTube, and it does not respond. And if we look at the log file, receive the command resume, platform on YouTube, command not found in catalog, resume. But I just ran it on Twitch and it worked just fine. So why didn't it work if it came in on YouTube? All right, let's have a look and see what's going on here. So we know it's loaded in memory because we can come over here, go to non-persisted, and we can see all the commands in here. Resume, get a free resume review, blah, blah, blah. And it should print all of this stuff out. And it printed all that out on Twitch. I can paste the response over here on YouTube. So this is what it should be printing. It should print something along these lines. Get a free resume review on Sundays. But it should be responding to the static command that I have coming in. Now, where I would normally see that not working is if I come over to commands and do any of these commands and look at the sources. In the past, I didn't have YouTube enabled here, but we know that this is working because the code that double checks that one of these has worked is we see a command triggered coming in here and it should run this block of code. In this block of code, we see this get here, and we are seeing that in the log file. So let me pull my log files over here so you can see what's going on. So we print out this got here message, and we do see that in here somewhere. Yep, so we got here. And then chat audio, we didn't need to worry about that. Oh wait, chat audio. Is that... So receive the command. Where did it print this from? Chat audio. This isn't an audio one to deal with. Okay, I think I know what's going on here. So we have a conflict with our commands because we also have like a boo and a cheer and things like that. If I do a cheer command, we hear the sound on Twitch. And if we do a cheer command on YouTube, we get a cheer on that one. So for some reason, when this chat message of like all the static responses comes in on YouTube, it's going over to this other control for chat audio and not the static responses. So we need to figure out what's going on with that. So what we should be seeing here is we're checking what the platform is, and then we send the message back with the response. The response is coming from chat responses. This is getting loaded up from our static chat responses, which we saw earlier from our memory, which I have closed right now. So this compiles and saves, but because we have this chat audio as well, this is also coming in here, and it looks like it's capturing that in here because this is where we're seeing that chat audio. But if we don't have it in here, that's fine. We should still be, it should still trigger the other one. So it should actually be triggering both of these. So we'll save and compile this. So when that exclamation point command comes in on YouTube, we should be seeing both of these running in the log file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and change this code here. And we're going to call this static. Because we saw that this happened. We'll put static in here. And then if we have something to show, we'll send it back here. So if the platform is Twitch, then we send back the response. Sorry. Yeah, if it's Twitch, we basically put a little, we put an emote, like an emoji on the front of it, which works fine on Twitch. But if we're on a different platform, we don't have these emotes, and so we just send back the response. And it should be sending back to whatever platform you came from. So we're figuring out here what platform you're on. So let's do static in here. All right, so we'll compile that, save and compile. And then let's go over to our log again. We get a lot of stuff in our log because we got a lot of things going on here. Clipboard for changed asset. Class not registered for what? Unable to locate the reference. Oh, yeah, because I changed this. Why is it accessing the old one? I changed a DLL file. So part of what I started doing on Sunday was putting a lot of code into a DLL file. And apparently Streamer.bot thinks that that's broken. So let me go check that real quick. So it's pulling in the new one. So that should work. So why does it think it should be looking for a different one? What's looking for that? It's the Canon game. So it's a new game that I set up. Looking for ID LLC Streamer.bot, which does not exist. So why is the Canon game looking for that other control? All right, so let's go. So we know that these are right because we should be pulling in Ian Douglas 736.dll. Let me go make sure that that file is still in the right place. It should be. And it is. It is definitely there from a couple of nights ago. So that's still there. That's still in place. But something about the Canon game thinks that it's wrong. Let's go back and take a look at these. So this is using the Ian Douglas 736. It calls it ID 736 here for the chat response. So that all works. But why did it think that the Canon game is using the other library? It's still using this. It's setting the timer using that. Let me just double check all these real quick. We're not even using it in here. And that's fine. These are all compiling okay. It's using the correct library here. And I'll show you this Canon game here in a minute because I built a new interactive game that we can play on the screen. And that's working okay here. File. Told it to find the references and it found the right reference for that. So that's okay. When the shot ends, we're calling all that. References, find references, found that okay. That also compiles fine. So I'm not sure why the log was complaining about that, but we'll debug that a little later. Okay, so if I come back in here now and I do the resume command, nothing happens. And in the log file, we should be seeing some kind of response. It didn't come up with any response. If we do resume over here on Twitch, we see that come in on Twitch. It's checking to see whether there were emotes. It's checking for a static response. This is where we see our got here. Then we see the platform came in on Twitch. So this was chat audio, so that's just ignoring it. So these are running in parallel. And then we see the response come in on Twitch. So that's fine. Okay, so now if we do, we'll do LinkedIn over on YouTube. So this is going through the queue, looking for things, anything that needs to happen. And, oh, interesting. So when we ran the command on YouTube, it kicked off all of these like things as if I was starting to stream. So some of these hooks that we have here, like the statistics being updated, I need to take this one out because otherwise it's going through and it's reloading all that stuff over and over again. Which is fine, but we're still not seeing any response. Oh, we're not seeing a response because it clears it out of memory. Therefore, there's nothing in memory to show. So Let's make sure that these are back in memory. And they are. Okay, so if we do the resume command again. Okay, so we don't see anything there. If we come back over to the log. Okay, so we got here. We can ignore this and this. So the platform came in on YouTube. We don't see a response sending back to YouTube. It's still running all this stuff as though, like over and over again, as though I'm starting a stream on YouTube. All right, got here, platform YouTube, command not found. So that was the chat audio. All right, so let's go back and take a look at how these run. So for the static response, we saw that it printed out YouTube here. So if we go look at the code for what sending the message is actually trying to do here, let me pull that up real quick. Editor is closed. So the code is in chat send message. If we come here and take a look at what's going on, we're checking which platform you're on, then we send the message to that platform. So we figure out the platform that the message is coming from. So this is just a helper method. Basically says if we're on Twitch or if we don't have a message ID, this is just checking whether we need to do it as a reply. But that's not what we need to do here. Sorry, here. We're trying to get the user type. So we know whether you're on Twitch or Kick or Trovo or YouTube and so on. And then we'll return the platform if we know it. Otherwise, we return Twitch. We just assume that you're on Twitch. So that's that. So now if we come back to send message. So we have the message. So this is telling us our platform, and then we send the message to that platform based on the message that came in, or this is the message that's going out. And then whether we're doing it from our bot account. And so if we look at this, so send message to for the platform message and from the bot, we're checking if the message is empty. If it is, we don't do anything. Otherwise, if we're doing YouTube, then we do the send YouTube message, and this is using the internal streamer.bot command just to send the response back to YouTube. Now, this isn't working because streamer.bot doesn't think I'm on YouTube at the moment. And so this is a problem with streamer.bot apparently, because clearly I'm on YouTube. I'm watching myself on YouTube, 2 different places, one on my phone, one on my desktop, so I know that YouTube is working. So we need to figure out what's going on. Why does it think I'm not actually online here? Also, am I actually on Twitch? Is a better question. Yeah, I'm on Twitch. I worried for a moment because I didn't see my live video on Twitch, but I'm there. All right, so I know that Twitch is working. I know that YouTube is working, but YouTube is not, or streamer.bot is not sending back the live messages to Twitch for some reason. Reprinted, how's it going? Good to see you again. I was just on another channel where Reprinted was hanging out. Good to see you, bud. We're trying to diagnose why streamer.bot doesn't think I'm live on YouTube, even though I'm live on YouTube, because it's not sending response messages back to YouTube. One thing I'm a little curious about is whether it will accept incoming. Well, we know that it's accepting some incoming things. And so one thing that we'll check here real quick is I made a game, actually Reprinted if you want to help play this one. There's a bang fire command that you can run, and it will basically, if you just do !fire, it'll tell you that you need to also specify an angle and a power. And basically it should load an online game. Coming from YouTube does not work. So yeah, we'll have to diagnose a little later why things aren't working on YouTube. I may go live on YouTube alone later. That way people on Twitch don't lose their streak. But yeah, if we come in here on Twitch and we say like fire 40 and then 50, we basically have my version of the parachute game, where it'll launch your name and a Twitch icon or a YouTube icon, depending on the platform that you come in. And basically you can try to hone in on, you know, what angle and what power do we need to fire this thing at? And basically all the names will stack up, and then eventually they launch out of the cannon in a very crude manner because I'm not a designer, but you get the idea here. So let's see, let's try fire 45 and 35. So so just like the parachute game, it'll basically stay on the screen until it's been about 60 seconds. And hey, I got 49 points. And so that's actually tallying up my points over here. So if I do the points command, we'll see that I went from 702 points to 751 points. So so I can just keep doing the fire command. So that one was 45, 35. Let's do 45 and 38. See if I can get closer to that bullseye. Oh, getting pretty close. Let's try fire 45, 39. So reprint it if you want to try this out. I wish that it would work on YouTube. Ooh, I got a 98. So there's no limitation on the game right now. You can just keep playing, and as long as you land on the target, you'll gain those points. So I figured that would be a fun little like mini game that we can play. It will also show up if I'm doing coding. It'll also show up. But the names will probably stack up over my head, you know, around here. It'll like, if the cannon is on the right side, it will randomly choose whether it's here on the right side or whether it's going to be over on the left side of the screen. But in the vertical mode, I don't have it on the code screen. I do have it on the main screen here, but it's itty bitty at the bottom of the screen. So, and after 60 seconds, it'll basically turn itself off. And then the next person that does a fire command, it'll basically start all over again. But you can see I've got a little wind flag on there, so that will affect the movement of the shot that you take. And the wind, I think, updates every 7 seconds just to keep it interesting. So there, the game went offline. So now you can, if you do the fire command again, it'll basically relaunch and start all over again. So, and it'll randomly pick left side or right side, and then randomly pick where the target is going to be, and then you can just start firing at it, start gaining some points. So that's the kind of goofy stuff I like making. So, so yeah, let's see. Really want to figure out how do we get Streamer.bot to recognize that I'm live on YouTube, because it would be really nice for all you folks over on YouTube that are watching right now to be able to participate in some of these and to see some of the static commands and stuff that we're doing, especially if you want help with career prep and resume reviews and things like that. I've got a whole bunch of exclamation point commands that you can run, but Streamer.bot doesn't think I'm on YouTube. All right, so if we go back and we look at what that code was doing for the chat, let me pull this back over here. So it's going to call send YouTube message, and whether or not it's coming from the bot and the message and so on, and then it'll just break out of here at that point. But this doesn't return anything because there's no return value on this. So let's go look up Streamer.bot API for send YouTube message. So it'll set a bunch of these to default values if you don't define them. So the broadcast ID is if you're broadcasting to multiple YouTube channels, you can pick which one, like which connection. But you can see their documentation is pretty sparse here. And what I've found in other exploration is that it won't send to YouTube if Streamer.bot thinks that YouTube is not broadcasting live. Where on Twitch it doesn't care. It'll just send it to Twitch, because Twitch has a different kind of like chat system. It used to be based on IRC. I think they've changed something else. But on YouTube, the chat is only live if you're actually broadcasting live. And I'm live on YouTube. I've been live for 35 minutes, 36 minutes now on YouTube. But the call to send a message to YouTube doesn't work because it doesn't think I'm live. So let's come over here and we'll build something here real quick just to test this theory. I'm just going to call this YouTube test. And over here, we're going to run a command where we do custom, or sorry, we'll do, what are we going to do here? We'll just look specifically for, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. We'll set a trigger on this. So I built a new action over here, just called it YouTube test. And over here in the triggers, you right click and go to add. I'm going to go to YouTube and we're going to do chat, and we will look for any kind of message coming in from YouTube. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an output to YouTube, which I know goes off the screen, you can't see. But under here, I'm going to go to, let's see, send message to channel, and we'll say, hello, your name. Now I think that it's going to literally send %username%, but we'll double check because it should find this from the incoming message, but we'll double check it here just in case. All right, so let's go over to the YouTube channel. And this did not, oh, it did. It responded. And now I'm stuck in an infinite loop. So let me go over here. Stop enabled. So it got caught in an infinite loop because it saw the incoming message. It responded as the bot and then said, oh, wait, I see a message. Let me respond. Oh, I see a message. Let me respond, and so on. Infinite loop of love, RC. That's right. So what are we going to do about that? So one thing that we could do, one thing that I kind of want to do, let's do this. I'm going to change this up. Instead of sending a message to back to YouTube, I'm actually going to send this over to Twitch. So we'll do a Twitch channel, chat, send message to channel, and we'll say that username from YouTube says, I think it's raw message. So now if I say hello on YouTube, now we see it over on Twitch. See Ian Douglas from YouTube says raw message. So, oh wait, no, I didn't say raw message. All right, so that didn't work. Let's try just lowercase message, I think. I'm also going to do username at YouTube instead of parentheses. So now if I say hello. Now over on Twitch, we see Ian Douglas at YouTube said hello. And then let's do the same thing. Well, so this one actually worked. So this test actually worked. If we see a message coming in from YouTube, we can send a response back. But do we see the resume command? It does not respond. So why does it not, like, this is what's confusing me about Streamer.bot, because Streamer.bot sees the incoming message, it copies it over to Twitch. So Streamer.bot knows that this works. When we enabled this one, we got stuck in that infinite loop, but we were able to send back to YouTube because YouTube is live. So then why doesn't this other code work from my DLL to actually say like, hey, go send a message over to YouTube? So let's go test one more thing. In that code, we're doing this send YouTube message I'm going to do just a real simple thing over here. So I'm going to do favorite sub action, C# code. And we're just going to say like, hello. And then we'll set this to be true because it's coming from the bot. Now, this is going to set us in that infinite loop. So I'm going to disable this. I'm going to try this one time. We should see the YouTube responses coming through if this works. So I'm just going to say hello. And it does not work. No, it did. So that C# code worked. So we know that calling C# code, oh, we're in an ad break over on Twitch. So we know that this code works on C#. But it did not work from my DLL file. But it worked the other day because I tested this Sunday night and it was working fine. Now suddenly it doesn't want to work. But we know that some of this is working okay. So now I'm confused. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on over here. We'll enable this one. And we'll just call this like YouTube chat to Twitch. And I'm going to make another one. I'm going to call it Twitch chat to YouTube. So you can all communicate with one another. How's that? We'll set these to always be on. All right, so for Twitch chat, we're basically going to add a trigger over here that says if I'm on Twitch and we see a chat message come in, that's going to be chat message. Then we're going to add YouTube. Where is it? YouTube, send message to channel. And here we're going to say username at Twitch. Spell it correctly. Twitch says message. I'm going to send that as me. So now if somebody on, oh shoot, this is also going to end up in an infinite loop. Because as soon as I say something on YouTube, it's going to show up on Twitch chat. And then the Twitch chat thing is going to send it back to YouTube and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I'm going to need to figure out a way to block that from happening. But for a moment, let's have some chaos. So we're going to say hi from YouTube. Okay, so we see that go over to Twitch. Now Twitch comes back and now goes back and now goes back and now it's going. And the message is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so I'm going to need to rethink that one a little bit. But it would be kind of fun to see chat messages from each platform go back and forth to one another. My main concern, though, is why those static commands don't work on YouTube going through my DLL file. So let's do this. I'm going to save. I'm going to disable both of these because I don't want these running accidentally. Save this. I'm actually going to close down Streamer.bot for a moment because I want to clear out this log file. And then we're going to start Streamer.bot back up again. And then we'll see. I want to see if we see that error again about the DLL not working properly. Okay, so we're going to come over here and we're going to come in here, start streaming. I'm going to tell it to test this trigger so it'll think that maybe these things are actually working. So this is just going to make sure that all this stuff gets loaded into memory here. And yep, so we got all our static commands and audio controls and things like that. And over on YouTube, if we do that cheer command, That works. So that one works on YouTube. But if I do the resume command, it doesn't send back a response. So let's go take a look at the log file. Let's see what's in our log file. So I don't see a stack trace as though it failed. This is where we manually ran our startup. This was our emote thing, static response execute. Okay, so we got our got here. This was the cheer command. And then we came in and we ran the resume command. So we got here, we got the command for resume, but the chat audio didn't find a match, but the static one did, but it didn't print anything in the log after that. So one thing that I could, well, I can't, I was going to say I could go change my DLL code and recompile it. I'd still have to shut down Streamer.bot and start it back up again because it gets loaded in memory and stays in memory. So I would need to figure out a way, like I need to get some kind of response back from this thing. But as I recall, this doesn't actually return a value. Yeah, so it returns a void. So it would be nice if it could give us back a Boolean that let us know whether the message sent or not. Because if it didn't send, I'd like to write something in the log saying like, hey, we couldn't send to YouTube, or give us a reason why. Like, give us a payload of data like why it didn't work. Did it not work because it doesn't think we're broadcasting, or did it not work because something else went wrong? Like, it would be nice to get more data about that because it's not printing anything in the log. It's just not working. And we don't really know why. And the fact that their documentation doesn't describe what these things are. Like, I know what they are. You know, are we using the bot or not? But come on, guys, put a string in here, please. It would be nice if they could go through and update some of their documentation and actually fill some of this stuff in. But there's no return type on this. It doesn't return anything at all. The only thing I can think of is that it really does need this broadcast ID. These ones are defaulting to a default value of true. This one does not. Most programming languages don't let you add a parameter at the end that doesn't take a default value if you've defined other parameters that do. So I'm a little puzzled. I don't know if RC Maniac is still over on Twitch, but RC would probably know because he does a lot of C# code. Is this allowed in C#? Or should I be sending something about this broadcast ID regardless? So normally it's a string, and the broadcast ID is like this big, you know, sort of UUID or GUID kind of broadcast string for, you know, your particular broadcast on YouTube. But I don't have this broadcast ID. I don't really have an easy way of getting this broadcast ID that I know of. We can try. Let's go in here. Let's enable this. I'm not going to send it over to Twitch, but I do want to run some code over here. Get good, no, get good, yeah. So RC, since you are here, in C#, this method has no default for message, but it defines default values of true for these two, but then for broadcast ID, it does not define a default. Is that valid in C#? Or is this actually defaulting to some default value that they don't really tell us here in the documentation because they don't really define any of this stuff? Because if you don't define it, it should just go to whatever your, like the first broadcast that it finds for YouTube. And so I'm a little curious if C# does allow you to do that. Function with, well, yeah, it's a function with two optional parameters, but this one's not optional at the end. Like, at least they don't describe it as being optional because it doesn't have a default value of like 0 or 1 or something like that. Like on Twitch, the broadcast ID is like a 0 or a 1 or a 2. It's an integer value based on which Twitch broadcast you're sending to. But YouTube, it's an actual string value. And I think it's like the mixed, it's not even a UID or a GUID, but it's kind of that random string that you get from YouTube. So send YouTube message hello gives an error compiling. Does it though? So if I don't set that at all, it compiles fine. I wish I could make this font a little bigger, but they don't let you do that in Streamer.bot. That would be another nice thing for them to add. This is one of my beefs back in the day too, is like, come on guys, like my eyesight's not what it used to be. Like, make this a little bigger, please. So this compiles fine. Maybe it does have a default value. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if it could tell us that in the documentation, right? So knowing that, we know that this works, but I'm curious whether there's, like, is there something about YouTube broadcast? Oh, there is a get broadcast. But I mean, we don't really need that, but there's a get monitored broadcast. So this is just going to get us a list of our broadcasted YouTube channels, I guess, for where we're broadcasting. We could do this kind of check, but we know that this is working because this send works fine. So why is it that it works when I do it here, but it doesn't work from my DLL file? So RC, in case you missed it, I started rebuilding a DLL similar to the DLL that I had like a couple of years ago. I basically started rebuilding it. And in that DLL, I have this message, well, basically send message, and then based on the platform that this person is on, we're getting the platform of who sent the message and where were they. And then we basically respond back to their platform. And so we get that platform, and then we say, okay, based on that platform, we want to do this thing. And for YouTube, I'm calling this exact same code that we had over here in C#. This code here, it's the exact same syntax, cph.send YouTube message with our string message. But this doesn't work from my DLL. But it did like a week ago. I forget if it was Thursday night or last Sunday. I think it was Sunday night. I was trying to get some stuff working on YouTube and it wasn't quite working. And then I went live just on YouTube and I got it working. But now suddenly it's not working. So I'm puzzled because it's not throwing an error in the log file. So I don't know why it's not working. Like I have no way of debugging this or tracing this. Aside from doing like a, cph log debug, sending, we'll just call it like message to YouTube. And then I'll do one after the fact and say, sent the message to YouTube. So I can save that. I can go recompile it, but then I got to like restart Streamer.bot and whatever. But this is the only way that I know how to go debug that, why this thing is or isn't working. Of course, I'm not live on Kick, so I can't go test whether Kick is working or not. So yes, I'm a little puzzled why this works fine on Twitch, not on YouTube. Again, the only thing I could think of is that the code doesn't think I'm live on YouTube, but this exact code is the exact same code that we have up here running in Streamer.bot natively, and that works fine. All right, let me go recompile that DLL. Let me get my other editor up and running here. Let me go recompile it. I will have to close Streamer.bot and restart it in order to do that. So bear with me. None of my commands are going to work for a little minute while I get this going. The other thing that was weird is we were seeing this. No, it's not in there now. We were seeing a different name for the DLL, but it's not in there now. We were seeing that show up in the log. Okay, so for the chat, we have... I just want to double check that that code is in here. Okay. Yep. So we're going to log debug for that. Make sure that we compile okay. Looks like it built okay. So let me go get that DLL file. I'll replace it, restart Streamer.bot, and then try it again. Streamer.bot, DLL, source, bin, release. It didn't make a release version, it made a debug version. RC says, I just checked. I'm sure they have a default, yeah. Optional parameter means you can do this. Yeah, I got you, RC. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go grab the debug version of the DLL. And go put that into here. Place. Okay, so that has been replaced. Let's go restart Streamer.bot. I cleared out the old log. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to reload all these things. So we should see our log fill up with a bunch of that. Except our log did not fill up with anything. Okay, what happened to our log file? All right, well, let's just try. Hello. So nothing is getting logged. Let me restart Streamer.bot. Sometimes Streamer.bot gets a little angry when you overwrite its log file while it's in the middle of starting up, I guess. There we go. Okay, so now we have data. So we'll come back over here, actions, we'll reload all this stuff into memory. Check that this all loaded up. This all loaded up fine. Okay, so now, scroll down to the bottom here. Now if we do a resume command, nothing happened. Because again, it doesn't think that anything happened. So let's enable this again. So if we do a resume command here, it should show up on Twitch, which it does. So maybe now it thinks that I'm broadcasting because it accepted this. So maybe now it thinks there's actually a live broadcast. Let's disable this. Let's go take a look at our platforms. YouTube, broadcasts. It does see that we are live. Okay, so this sent over to Twitch just fine. So now let's go back to our log file, scroll down to the bottom here. And now we're going to do a LinkedIn. Okay, and we got a bunch of stuff. There are no stack traces. So we see that it did the sending connect with Ian on LinkedIn. This is what it was going to send to YouTube, but then we see nothing after that, which tells me the DLL crashed after sending that line of code. So we saw this one failed and failed catastrophically, but we are not catching that. And so we never saw this one happening in the log file. So I'm guessing now that we need to put some kind of try catch around this, or try except, and see if we can figure out why that failed and get some kind of like message reason out of it as to why it failed. All right, so let's go figure out how to do a try catch around this. So we do a try. And then what kind of catch do I even like? I mean, in Python, I would just say like, go catch every exception possible. Oh, code completion. How about that? And we'll log the error to the string. Hey, how about that? So now we should get the exception. Catch var e. So yeah. Oh, var or exception. I'll just do var, I guess. Can I still do e to string if I do a var e? Because my code completion was trying to do exception here. Not that I don't trust URC, but I'm gonna try this one first. Unless you tell me otherwise. I gotta close down Streamer.bot anyway in order to compile this and copy the file over and stuff. So let me know in chat if this is still gonna work with exception instead of var. Go build. I think I did that. 809. Yep. Leave it as exception. Okay. All right. So grab this, copy, paste, replace. Come back over here. We're going to clear out that log. Okay. And we'll start this back up. Actions and queues, actions, do the thing, test our trigger. Everything's loaded in memory. Okay, so we can close that. And then over here, this is where we were copying things over to Twitch. So let me go re-enable this. We'll say, hi from YouTube. See that print over on Twitch just fine. Disable that. And so now if I do, let's do email over here. Let's go make sure that we're getting stuff in our log file, and we are. Interesting. It didn't run anything at all. There we go. Okay. Received command email. That was for chat. Interesting. So we didn't even see the sending before it crashed like we did last time. Let me try another one. Why is this lagging so much? Okay, so we saw LinkedIn. This is fine. Okay, so sending, and it said it sent. So weird. Putting the try catch around it didn't print anything in the log file about why it failed. Command not found in email. So that's from a different command, RC. So we were in this one called static. There's another one for chat audio, where if you're doing like an emote, like some of the emotes on Twitch will actually play a little audio, like the lit and the sad panda and whatever. That command is basically watching those. That's why that one's getting logged. I can go shut that one off. Chat audio, I will just disable that one for now. So now if I come in here and I do like newsletters, we don't see that one show up. So let's do email again. Okay, so we got here, platform was from YouTube. This is what it was supposed to send back to YouTube. This is what we're doing after the try catch. The catch is supposed to be printing something to our log file as to why that didn't work. And this didn't print anything at all. So let's move this into here. Let's move this one over to here. Let's add another one in here that goes, we got an exception. Let's also put static in front of these. The other thing that I want to do is write a custom log thing where it'll write to a separate log file. So I don't have to go look for all this stuff in this enormous like streamer.bot log. Because that gets really annoying after a while. Okay, so the exception here, we're going to do like E2 string. Actually, I'll take the quotes off of there. I mean, it should be logging that as an error anyway. But we'll try logging it as debug and error just in case. Okay, so let's go shut down streamerbot again. Code succeeded. Copy this over, replace it. Clear out all the log file. Go start streamerbot again. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Let's come back over here, actions. Test that this worked. We see everything loaded in memory, so that's fine. Okay, we'll come back over here and we will say hello. Lila Rose, good to see you. You're here lurking, no problem. We do have a lurk command if you want to have some fun with a little tabletop gaming on the lurk, but welcome in. All right, so it did not copy. Oh, that's because we didn't do the Twitch message. So let me re-enable this and we'll do hello again. Okay, so that printed over to Twitch just fine. So Lila, I'm testing right now, sending a message on YouTube, copies it over to Twitch, because we're trying to get all of the static commands like resume and things like that that work on Twitch. We're trying to get those same commands working over on YouTube. And we think we're sending them, but we're getting some kind of error. And we're not actually printing what that error is anywhere. So we don't know why it's not working. So that's basically what I'm trying to debug right now. I know it's like watching paint dry, but hey, this is live coding, right? All right, so we are looking for the log over here. All right, so let's go run. Let's go do a, well, if we do the cheer command, that should play some audio. No, that also did not work. Why didn't the cheer command? Oh, because I have it turned off. All the audio commands are turned off. All right, so let's try one that we actually wanted to debug. So let's do email again. So it didn't print anything in the log. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so got here, platform YouTube. This is where we were going to send it. This is after it's sent. There's no error in here to indicate that something failed. So now I'm really puzzled. Streamer.bot's your favorite? Definitely not a coder. This would be interesting to me. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I've been sick, been doing my networking and highs and going to rest. Oh, well, I hope you feel better soon. I had like a really weird cold yesterday. Woke up super stuffed up, had a bit of a headache earlier today. Got a little better in the afternoon, but yeah, in a bit of a fog myself. It's weird because it's like crazy hot and then you get a cold. So yeah, hope you feel better soon. But yeah, you can always check out the VODs afterwards. All the VODs are online. But yeah, we're trying to figure out why these things aren't working on YouTube. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. So RC, we're not getting any log message as to why it didn't send. And we moved these messages into the try catch. We didn't see this one print. We saw the static sending and sent with no error message, and yet nothing actually sent back to YouTube. So now that makes me think that the default broadcast ID thinks it needs to go to some other channel. So now I'm kind of curious, when we see an incoming message and we see that it's from YouTube, can we get the broadcast information about the message from YouTube? What's up, Devilbird? Good to see you. Welcome in. Did that actually queue up the shout out like I hoped? Nope, it did not. We will queue up a shout out for Devilbird. Welcome in. That'll send out here in just a moment on Twitch. When log fails, it tells me one thing: your log level's off. Change from log error to log debug. So I am doing log debug on both of those. So if an exception happens, we're doing both log debug and log error just in case. And I didn't see either of these. In fact, we wouldn't have seen the sent if this failed. Not wrapping this in a try catch though, we never saw this one, which made me think that there was a problem here. And so as soon as we put the try catch in, we didn't get it failing anymore, but it's also not broadcasting, which tells me that whatever the broadcast ID is here, I think we need to go find the broadcast ID from the incoming message on YouTube and make sure that we're responding back on the same broadcast ID. So I'm going to try a few things over here on Streamer.bot. So over here where we had a message coming in, we were executing some code, and this is where we want to send a message back saying hello. In this case, we actually want to go try to find like the broadcast ID for that message. So YouTube broadcast ID, get monitored broadcast ID, get the latest monitored broadcast ID. I mean, let's just try all of these, shall we? So that's just going to go get oh, that's the broadcaster. That's not what we want. So we have YouTube, get the broadcaster, get the monitor broadcasts. So this should give us back a list of all of the YouTube broadcasts. Let's just call this like broadcasts. And then we need to loop over these. So for each, we'll do YouTube broadcast info. I'm just going to call it bcast in broadcasts. And then bcast. Of course, it's not going to be smart enough to tell me what that actually unpacks to be. So let's go find out. Let's go see whether they actually document that for us. That would be lovely if they did. They do. How about that? So we have an ID, we have a channel ID, we have a category ID. I mean, I assume just the ID value is going to be our broadcast ID. But we have a channel ID, a live chat ID. I don't know which one of these we're going to need. Yeah, no worries, RC. Okay, well, let's go figure out what some of these things are going to be. So we know if a message comes in from YouTube, we could go get all of our broadcasts. But I still want to know when a message comes in from YouTube, how do I get its broadcast ID from that specific message? Okay, so we know the message coming in. I just need to figure out, like we know the user type is going to be a string of YouTube. I just need to know what the other arguments are when a chat message comes in. So let's go look at C# code. It's going to be based on a trigger. It's going to be based on a YouTube chat message. Nope. 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 Twitch, nope. YouTube set category, nope. YouTube broadcast, get monitored broadcasts. The broadcaster, get the latest monitored broadcast. Okay, trigger, YouTube chat message. Okay, so we have any emotes that they send. We have the message ID. We have parts. Oh, that's if they send emotes, I guess. Published at. All right, general variables, YouTube broadcast variables. Here we go. So we have the broadcast description, broadcast.id. So broadcast.id should give us the YouTube broadcast ID of the incoming message. All right, so cph.getArg. Try get arg. And it's going to be broadcast.id outstring. Let's call it YouTube bcast ID. And then we need to check if that's empty or null. So if YouTube bcast ID string is null or empty. I always forget if it's null or empty or null. I think it's null or empty. So we'll say if it's not null or empty, then we want to print it out. We will just cph log debug. This will be the YouTube bcast ID value. I don't know whether this is going to work with the dot in here or not, but we will see. So it doesn't like something on line 7. Parentheses here. Okay, so that compiles fine. So I'm going to go enable this. Come on. Stop. All right, so over here in our log, do we see... It didn't print anything. Okay, so let's go put an else statement in there. All right, so one way or another, we should see this show up in our log file. Also need to debug what's going on with this. Oh, we did get it. We had the YouTube broadcast ID right here. And that is actually the same fragment of the URL that we see. Okay, we got ads starting in a minute. Okay, so that's the URL fragment of the current YouTube stream that I'm on. Okay, so that's good to know. So what I can do then is I can take that bit of code and let's go find a place to put that in our chat over here. So we're going to want to do that if we have a YouTube broadcast ID. We're going to have a problem here because when the DLL file sees an incoming message, the DLL isn't intercepting the incoming message. It's only responding back to the channel. Okay, let's try one more thing. Because we know that there was a monitored broadcast, so we want to get the latest broadcast. And this is going to be YouTube broadcast info. I'm just going to call it YT info. And then we're going to do the monitored version here. Oops. And this will be our YT info.id. I just want to add this in here to figure out if we get the last monitored one. YouTube. Oh, broadcast is lowercase c. Okay, so that compiles. Okay, so now if I send in a message here, we go look at our log. Yeah, it's the same value. Okay. So I think what we're going to want to try to do hey, Devilbird, if you are still hanging out in chat, thank you for the Discord message. I just saw a glance of it pop up on my phone, so thanks. I'll look into that. I didn't look at the link, but what you did send me looks interesting. So, what's up, Minion? What's going on? In ads for a moment. Well, welcome in. Let's fix that. All right, all fixed, Minion. Yeah, Streamer.bot. So this is basically a control to let you do all kinds of fun interactive stuff on your stream. So if you use Streamer.bot, it's basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a bunch of code for folks like you that aren't coders so that you can use Streamer.bot and not feel intimidated by, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with all this code. Like, I don't know what to do. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible to manage and maintain things. For example, let me go find the right page here. Okay, why does it think I'm logged out of everything? Okay, so let me show you what I mean with this real quick, Minion. You're running Mix It Up mostly, also running a bit of Streamer.bot. Okay, cool. So for example, I've got all these static things that I can type in, like, type in ! email. It says, get my career newsletters, blah, blah, blah. The way that I have this set up in Streamer.bot is I can maintain all of these things in a Google spreadsheet. And so you can come into Google spreadsheet and set all this stuff up. And all you do is when you share this, you make it public. So, you know, it's a public link. And then when you copy that link into Streamer.bot. And then when Streamer.bot loads, like when your stream goes live, you tell it like, hey, whenever my stream goes live, go load the spreadsheet of all these commands. And now you can maintain it in a Google spreadsheet. And then in Streamer.bot over here, when I start streaming, it pulls in a whole bunch of these things. And so that one is my static responses where I load in the data. So this is where I put the URL. And so the only thing you would have to do is come in here, change this URL, and that's it. You're done. And then in the thing here, you don't put the exclamation point in front of this. This is just what you want to come after the exclamation point. And so if you do like exclamation point flip, it'll do the flip a table, you know, ASCII art, for example. So I wanted to make it as easy as possible for people where I know like Stream Elements and Nightbot and things like that, they have like nice web pages and stuff like that that you can go and manage and maintain all the stuff. And there are ways that you can do that in Streamer.bot as well to make things easy for people to set up and maintain as well that maybe aren't like an actual web page. It looks like it's part of Streamer.bot. It's like the same kind of interface where you'd like type in fields of information and stuff. But then you can make it as friendly as you want to. And that's where I'm headed with my Streamer.bot setup. For right now, though, I'm mostly doing things like, let's go intercept incoming messages and do something interesting with those messages, like play a game or do these, you know, responses, or I can do like dad joke, which will actually go to my dad joke website, pull in a joke and respond back here with that dad joke. But I'm actually trying to get these working from YouTube. Hey Jordy, good to see you over on YouTube. Oh, interesting. So that worked suddenly. It actually copied the joke from Twitch over to YouTube. So that worked. So now over on YouTube, if I do the email command, nope, still doesn't work. If I do dad joke over here, nope. No, it did work. So the dad joke one works, but the static responses don't. I'm really puzzled. I'm really, really puzzled. So on both Twitch and YouTube, I have the dad joke thing set up right now that it will cross-link that. I think I've actually got that in here. I think that's why. Yeah, I've actually got code in here that's actually sending over to each platform. So for each, depending on the platform that you're coming in, it goes to the other platform as well. So it's basically looking at all the platforms and then it copies that over to all of the other platforms. But what's interesting is this works by sending it over to that target platform, which is exactly what we try to do with the static response. Minion says, I've written a bunch of JSONs for Mixitup for controlling charts, but not dad jokes. Yeah. Well, the dad joke thing actually, it actually loads from JSON data. But if you just go to dadjokes736.com, it'll basically, it loads all my jokes and then it picks one at random and then just shows you that on the webpage. And that's all this command is doing, is it's going and fetching, a dad joke and then just printing it out to all the platforms. So this is where it's getting that joke. And then as long as it got a joke okay, then it's going through all the different platforms that I've got listed up here and saying, okay, now go send that message out to all those platforms. But I think what's happening is when we're getting these static response or these static commands coming in from YouTube, I think it's getting confused over the broadcast channel where it needs to respond. So it's always good to torment Spirit with. Yeah, I know. I love dropping in his stream and just dropping dad jokes in. It's funny, I was on another stream earlier today and the streamer was doing a bunch of stuff with ducks. And so I dropped a thing in there. I'm like, oh, I hit a duck with my car the other day. And she's like, oh no, like how sad. I'm like, yeah, I found a quack in the bumper. And it took her a minute to realize that I was dropping a dad joke in her chat. And then there was, much levity and laughter to be had. But yeah, for a minute, she was really, really concerned that I actually hit a duck with my car. Okay, so why do some of these work and some of them don't? Because this is doing the exact same, like, go send to that platform, and the relay is just the message. Oh wait, send message to platform with the message. Is that what we're actually doing in the other code? Send message to, yeah, we have the platform and then the message. So that one works. Now, by default with YouTube, it's not taking in a broadcast ID here. And so when we're doing the code over here and we're saying like, hey, go send that over to YouTube, it's going to use whatever the last broadcast channel is that it thinks it needs to use for YouTube. And it works here, but it doesn't work here. And the only difference is this is getting called from a DLL, but it's actually calling this exact code, this send message to, right here. It's actually using my DLL, send message to, and it's sending the string to YouTube and then the message to relay, and that works fine. So we should be seeing these static things showing up in our log file. So let's go look for those dad jokes that we printed. Must have a bandwidth issue, stream keeps buffering, okay. And there was much rejoicing. Yeah, that was my favorite part of that Monty Python movie, where, you know, they kill the minstrel with the thing, and there was much rejoicing. That's like my favorite part of that. Okay, so we should see a dad joke. There was something about Santa, right? So this is where we're trying to send. How much does it cost Santa to park a sleigh? Nothing, it's on the house. This is where we're trying to send it to YouTube. We should see a sent to YouTube, yeah. Because it actually sent that one over to YouTube, so that worked. But when I do the email command, that one did not work. So we come down here and try to find that email command. Of course, now I can't find it. Let's look for static. Really need to make my highlight a different color because I can't see. Can't see what it highlighted. It looks like it's highlighting this line here in the middle, but that's not. It's not actually the line. This is why I want to write something where I can log things to a different file, because it's really hard to find things in here when you're trying to debug stuff like this. YouTube service presence, Twitch service. Okay, so we should see sending. Nope. So in my other code, all the dad jokes are eating the bandwidth? Yeah, maybe. Stream's having issues for you too? Okay. Might be my bandwidth. I do see I'm dropping about 2% of my frames. I got plenty of outgoing bandwidth. So you know what? I'm broadcasting both horizontal and vertical mode. So that will use more bandwidth, but this is the first I'm hearing that that's causing bandwidth issues for folks. I will keep an eye on it. Thanks for letting me know. So RC, since you're back. So when somebody asks for a dad joke on Twitch, this will copy it over to YouTube. So basically up here, these are the platforms that I want to send it to. And then for each of those strings, it's coming over here and doing the thing, send the message to that platform with the message that we're relaying, right? So we have this id736.chat.send message to, which looks strikingly similar to this CPH send message to, where we have the platform and the message. This one does not work for the static responses. And the static responses are trying to do this exact same code. So if well, the difference, I guess the difference here is that the static response is calling send message. And then it's figuring out which platform did the message come from, and then it's trying to send it back to that platform. And we know that that string was trying to go to YouTube. So we know that the platform name was coming back as YouTube. But this doesn't work for the static response, but it works for the dad jokes. Perhaps there's a no-no character in the dynamic response. In the dynamic response? So there shouldn't be. I mean, if we go look at the spreadsheet of all my responses, they're pretty benign. Like if you do email, it's just go get my free newsletters and so on. Do any of these not have a link? So exclamation point commands doesn't have a link. But that one also doesn't respond on YouTube. Wait, it did. That one did come back on YouTube. Now I'm really confused. The email one did not. Am I auto-modding myself and I can't send something back with a link? YouTube doesn't like links? I could have swore that this worked Sunday night though. Unless you're a mod or a broadcaster, YouTube usually doesn't do links, but I'm sending it as the broadcaster. So on the static response, let me close this one. Static response, execute. When I send that message, get the current platform, send message, I am not sending the Boolean here to send it as the bot. And so if I come in here and we look at this code, so I'm sending it here. I'm not sending that second parameter for coming from the bot. Oh, and I defaulted to true. So my bot is not a moderator on my channel. If this is all it is, I'm gonna... I'm not gonna do anything. And it worked. Freaking YouTube. All right, so I need to figure out how to make my bot account a moderator. So... add as moderator. Moderator, standard moderator. Review, remove chat messages, hide, put users in timeout. Can manage blocked words, change chat modes and live. Also has capability standard. I'll just do standard mod. Frick, is that all it was? I feel really dumb now. All right, so let's try it. Okay, and then newsletters. It worked. AKA YouTube going some API message trying to send a link. Surely, or silently eat. Yeah. Surely spam. Okay. Well, that works. So, all right. So all those commands work now. So let's go back and we will remove, actually we'll turn this one back on. The audio commands, but we will remove these because we no longer need them. You know what? I'm going to leave it here. I'm just going to disable it because it might be handy to do some debug later. Cool. Thank you. All right. Well, that only took an hour and 40 minutes. Cool. Let's play the new game, shall we? So I made a new game where there's a fire command that we can run. And this will be much like the parachute drop game that you see on other streams. This one will basically randomly pick a corner of my stream window to place a little cannon, and you'll basically fire at a target. And based on the angle and the power, if you land in the target, you get points. Play a new game called Does It Have a Link? Thank you, RC. Yeah, this one does not have a link. Unless you get into my Streamer.bot examples. But yeah, so cool. So fire 2030. All right, so RC, there goes RC. Oh, you got 19 points. All right, because you barely landed. So you can't really see, but there's an outer white ring on the target that you landed in. But basically it'll stay up here for 60 seconds. If it closes, like if nobody else fires within 60 seconds, including RC, then it'll basically shut down, much like the drop game. And then the next time somebody fires, it'll randomly pick again, which corner is the cannon in, where does that target go? It looks the wind speed, the wind sock is a little bit off, but the wind speed will affect the how your shot will work. So if I do a fire 40-40, for example, it's still active, so it should do the same thing. Yep, and here we go. Oh, I got 34 points. All right, so my score is a little bigger. So anybody else wants to get in. So every time someone else gets in and tries to play, it will it'll reset that 60-second timer. Yeah, you can do it as much as you want. I don't have it set on a timer where you can only do it like every 5 seconds or anything like that. So just queue up a whole bunch if you want. But you got to do it within 60 seconds, otherwise it'll shut down. So 40-40 was a bit too much. Let's try 35. And basically whatever the highest score is, it'll keep that one highlighted and everyone else will dim. So hey, 97. Come on, can you get better than 97? I have yet to actually get 100 on this. I've tried queuing up all kinds of things and I can't quite get to it. So if I do like 42, 34. Uh-oh. All right, didn't like RC's second shot. Maybe try that one again, RC. There is a bug where it seems to be not doing the not doing some of the queued shots. So we'll see. All right, got 95. It's gonna do RC. It should do RC. So if you land on the target, I think it waits like 5 seconds before it loads the next shot, just for everyone to go, yay, you hit the target. But it should. Okay, so there's definitely a bug in the game where that leaves RC Maniac kind of hanging. RC, just queue up another one. You can do the same one over and over again. It won't penalize you. How do you set it so it shoots your annoying neighbors? That one I can't help with. All right, there it goes. All right, got 66. So it basically dims out everybody else's score except whichever one is the highest so far. Like I said, I've never been able to get exactly 100 points. Best I've gotten is 99 points. Even on my own game, I can't get 100 points. But if you do the points command, you'll see that your points are actually ticking up in between. So you're actually getting actual points on my platform. Hey, you got a 99. All right, so RC1. What's up, Devil Bird? So I'm curious if I do the same shot as RC. Now it thinks I'm the winner, even though I got the exact same score. I should probably do 1 decimal point. Or 2 decimal points. Because the wind speed will make it vary just a little bit. I was also trying to do things like if you fire at like 90 power or 100 power, obviously it's going to shoot like way off the screen. But I was also trying to set it that if it hits the opposite wall, that it would bounce back. All right, Devilbird also got 99 points. All right. Anyway, this is my answer to the parachute drop game. I would love to get the parachute drop game and the cannon game going at the same time, where the cannon could like blast you out of the air. I think that'd be funny. That one would be fun as heck for sure. Oh. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. What? Yeah, I made limits. Yeah. Angle 90, power 100. It should have told you that the numbers were out of range, though. But yeah, it'll be between 0 and 90 for the angle and 0 and 100 for the power. Anyway, if we let it sit for 60 seconds, the game will reset, it'll shut off from the screen, and the next person to fire. Oh, it took a negative? That's interesting. Also, that wasn't an angle of 0. That looks like an angle of 45. All right, so I got a little more work to do. But yeah, this one was also pretty fun to build. Took a negative, said 0, and then didn't do that. Yeah, you're right. I will double check my my animations and stuff. Also, can you tell I'm not a graphic designer and game asset creator? Stuff looks like kind of looks like trash, but hey, what do you want for you know, spending an hour with an SVG editor trying to make something that sort of kind of looks like a cannon, and then had to outline it in gold as well, because if we do the channel point command to change the background, you can find that one. If we change it to a dark colored background, you wouldn't be able to see the cannon at all, because it's a black cannon. But if you do the fire command now, it'll basically pick a random corner again, and then it'll queue up the names on that side above the cannon. So if it switches over here to the right side, then it'll stack the names up above the cannon over on the side instead. So if you try another fire command, it'll basically start a fresh new game. So, but we have to wait for it to kind of close out and go off the screen. So, any takers? Nobody wants to try it again. All right. Oh, so when okay, so when it initializes, it always starts on the left. I think I need to tell it to make the assets not show up until it gets the initial sort of take from everything. So now if we do like fire 10, 20, maybe it'll get there. Should be a pretty shallow angle here. Could have used Sprite. It's an animated sprite editor. Okay, I'll check into that. I was just trying to do SVGs, just something that would be super simple to load up on the screen. I also didn't want to like copy anybody else's assets and stuff like that. But you should be hearing you should hear like a fuse kind of light. Let me shut off the music and me for a sec. Somebody wants to take a shot. You should hear a fuse kind of fizz, and then boom from the cannon. Let me turn up the game a little bit if somebody wants to try it. Hopefully it won't be too loud. So I tried some basic sound effects in there anyway. Oh, Devilbird got stuck in the queue. Try that one again, Devilbird. Fizzle thing happens during the boom. So the fizzle is actually longer than the pause. So I need to increase the pause time to let the fizzle actually finish playing. But yeah, it was a first draft. So All right, Divilberry got some points. Anyway, so we got that one working. We also got the higher lower game. We've played that one a couple of times now. Let's see, what else did I make? Oh, I got the actual point thing working. And then the shutout timer thing didn't shut off. I want to try the shoutout thing again because it should have shut itself off after doing a shoutout. Now it's not on at all. Yeah, the fizz only lasts like just under a second, I think. But the sound file is longer than that. So I think I only have it paused for like a second before doing the actual shot. But I think the fuse MP3 file that I found is I'll give bonus points to anybody who can actually identify where the fuse MP3 file comes from. See my points before I see the animation. Oh, gotcha. 8-second latency, yeah. I was checking on the timer. Yeah, the shoutout thing's not working now either. I'm also curious if I can play from YouTube now. Nope. The command does not work from YouTube. So I'll have to double check that one. Anywho. So yeah, so a couple of things that I've basically been working on throughout the week is getting the getting this DLL built out. So I've got check commands, data commands, that's just doing some data conversion stuff, loading things from Google Sheets, doing the groups. So the groups will be used for the games. Like the higher lower game, when you do ! join, it puts you in a group. So this is how we're managing those groups. And then media, this is looking at if you want it to play an MP3 or MP4 file, either for audio or video, it'll find out the duration so that you can turn like an OBS scene on or off for that amount of time. And then points, that's just the points thing that we have going on. So there's an exclamation point, points, X, what's going on? Good to see you, friend. It's been a minute. So there's an exclamation points command that'll tell you how many points you have. And then, oh, you know what else isn't working? Our emote stock game is not working. Why isn't our emote stock game working? Oh, because I had that one turned off apparently. Let's get some stocks going here. So yeah, so this is another one that I built. Looks like one of the images is broken. The lit one seems broken, not sure why. Let me go double check over here. Did that actually come through? No, my lit emote is broken. Stonks, yeah, that's right. And there is a stonks command. If you want to run that one, it basically just shows you exactly what just came up. But yeah, I need to figure out why the lit emote, I mean, it worked there, but it didn't work when we did the stocks command. Oh, now it's back. Weird. It just didn't load for a second. So yeah, so every 10 minutes, the stocks will change price. And if you do exclamation holdings, it'll tell you which stocks you own, if any. So in my case, I own 25 lit and 10 Deadpool hearts. So again, just fun little like chat kind of games and things like that. X, just subscribe for 6 months. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Oh, my music is gone. Why is the music always gone? There we go. Nope. There you go. Now you can hear the music. Yeah, thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. So now you will have access to a lot more fun emotes, for sure. I turned off the music to hear the fizz boom, yeah. But then it stopped playing on my side. Like I still had the music running on this side. I just muted it on OBS. All right, so this one's going to be a little trickier to get all the way across the screen here. So if we do, I don't know, fire 4590. Oh, look at that. First try. So if I do fire 4691. So yeah, you can basically just sit here like the whole time and just keep trying to get a better and better score, and you just rack up the points playing the game because your actual points value will go up as you play the game. And then, oh, Devilbird and X, I don't think you've seen the higher lower game. We should definitely play a higher lower game. I think that one will be fun to do if you're around for probably 3 or 4 minutes. It does take a little bit to actually play the game, but we can definitely play some higher lower. Make sure that everything is loaded in memory. You broke it again. Yeah, I'll double check what's happening because it seems that some things are getting stuck in the queue. Yeah. So the way that higher lower works, basically the game will pick a random number from 1 to 100, and then everybody who joins the game, you'll have to do !join. When I start the game, you'll do a join command. And then basically every round, everybody in chat will try to guess what number the game picked. But instead of saying, oh, Devilbird needs to pick higher and E needs to pick lower, it'll actually take all of our numbers collectively, and it's going to average those together and say, collectively as chat, you need to guess higher or lower. And so if let's say the average is 50 and it says we need to guess higher, then everybody needs to guess higher than 50. But there's always going to be that one person in chat who's like, I'm just going to put a 1 in there every time, or 100 in there every time just to throw off that average. And the faster collectively as chat that you guess the number, the more points everybody wins. And if at any point during the game you guess the exact correct number, you get a bunch of bonus points at the end. We have ads starting in 3 minutes. I'm going to try and snooze them so we can get a game in here. So I'm going to go ahead and snooze these for 5 minutes. We'll see if we can get a game in here. So everybody who wants to play, you can just type !join. And then it will basically add you to a group, and then you can play. And it'll tell you every round. It'll tell you when the round starts. So you don't want to type in a number until it says, okay, round 2 has started. We'll have 30 seconds to actually put a number in chat. So X, yep, X is in there. I don't know if RC wants to get in there. There are a bunch of other people viewing. Pezla is in here as well, I think. No, that was a different channel. Looking at a different channel, not my channel. All right, Minions in. Got a bunch of lurkers hanging out, which is fine. You don't have to play if you don't want to. I'm kind of curious if I can join from YouTube as well. I can. So I can also play on YouTube. So I get two choices. All right. So it starts in 15 seconds. So in 15 seconds, it'll say round 1, and here's how many points everybody can win, and go ahead and guess a number from 1 to 100. So it's going to tell us that a number's coming up. So we'll go ahead and we'll guess a number. All right. So put in your guess. You got 30 seconds to get a guess in here. And if our average is correct, we all win 1,000 points. And basically that 1,000 points goes down every round. So the sooner we can guess the value, the better. All right, so it's going to go grab everybody's value here, and it'll average those out, and it'll tell us whether we need to guess higher or lower. All right, so the average was 43. We need to guess higher than that. So the next round has started. So guess something higher than 43. So I'm going to split the difference here. Okay. So we got a couple in the 60s, 70, 55. Okay. All right, so let's see what this averages out at. It's going to be somewhere in the 60s, low 60s maybe. So we know that whatever number we guess, it has to be higher than 43. It also has to be lower than 61. So somewhere between 43 and 61. So I'm going to split the difference and say like 52. All right. So we got a couple of 51s, we got a 52. So we know it's somewhere between 43 and 61. I was debating whether to make the message over here keep the range of where we know it's going to be. So Devilbird, it's supposed to be higher than 43. You're like dragging us down. All right, so it's higher than 51. So it's somewhere between 51 and 61. So I'm going to split the difference. All right, X guess 57. Yeah, you think you should keep the range? I think I might make it a configuration option for whoever wants to play the game, because I like the chaos of like, you got to pay attention. But yeah, this also allows other people in chat, like if somebody who didn't join, okay, so it has to be higher than 56 and lower than 61. So, okay, so I'm going to guess like 58. And so if somebody else in chat who didn't join the game starts putting numbers in, it doesn't count their numbers. You had to do a join command in order to actually successfully guess it. So. Devilbird is multitasking. Yeah, no worries. All right, so let's see what this average comes out with. I'm also playing over on YouTube. So the average guess was 58, guess lower. So we know it's between 56 and 58. So, gee, I wonder what the number could be. And I think X guessed the number exactly earlier. Yeah, X guessed it exactly correct earlier. So X is also going, well, everybody that's typing 57 now, because that's going to be the correct answer. Everybody's going to get that number of points. Now, if you ever miss a round, then it's going to take a percentage of how many rounds you actually participated in, and it's only going to give you that many points. All right, so the number was 57. Cool. And so it's basically printing out here, like we all get the 1,000 bonus points. But if you scroll up a little bit, we can see, so Ian Douglas on YouTube, I only got some of the points because I only participated in 5 of the 6 rounds on YouTube. But I did all 6 over here on Twitch. So, yeah. Almost Crab Wars time? What is Crab Wars? I'm curious what Crab Wars is. Is that like another game, or is that like a TV show? Pretty sure they call that Deadliest Catch, don't they? Oh, and Palia. Oh, I haven't played Palia, I think since Devilbird, since the last time you and I played. I think that was the last time I played Palia. Or maybe like shortly after that. I downloaded the latest updates and stuff like that, but I haven't been back in the game. I got busy with other stuff, so. Oh, Minion also plays Palia. Hey, we should all get together and do like a streamer Palia, like co-stream or something like that. Did they have another patch today? I don't think I saw that. It's been long. Yeah, we should do like a cross stream kind of thing and whatever. I've never done one of those before. I also don't typically game on my channel, but hey, Tech Cheaper, what's going on? Good to see you, bud. Actually a Palia streamer competition in a couple of weeks. Really? That's cool. Do you want to plan for that, Devilbird? Do you want to plan where like Minion and I can like join you on that? Or is it like you have to sign up and whatever? I don't want to invite myself to something you've already got going on. I was just trying to think of something fun, like we could all get a bunch of streamers together and all play. Go run around and check out the new zone or whatever. I know there's a new zone and like you can ride horses or something now. Oh, it's signed up. Okay, cool. Well, we won't wreck your chance in the competition then. But yeah, I think it'd be fun. Let's chat about it offline maybe. I definitely want to check out that Discord message that you sent as well. So good deal, good deal. All right, let's see what else we got going on tonight. Speaking of Palea. What do we got going on? I'm trying to think of who we can go raid into. Been following a handful of other people doing live code and stuff with AI lately. You haven't figured out the horses yet? Yeah, me either. Do you get a horse for free or do you have to like buy the horse? You ride like you ride in real life badly? Okay. You gotta do the main story quest in the Highlands to get horse. Get you. Okay. So I got some work to do to get the horse in the first place. All right, no worries. Cool. Let's go hang out. Let's see what this person's doing. Software and games. They're in Spanish, so I don't know what they're doing. Minecraft mod development. Be fun. Should send that one over to my son. He's playing Minecraft right now. I think we'll just go listen to some music tonight. How's that sound? You're gonna fall over asleep? Yeah, no worries. We're gonna go over to a music channel that I like. We will go raid over there. So let me go get that set up. Cool. Let me do a raid command. Let's go grab a dad joke. Anyone recommend a good bank account? Mine ran out of money. That was not bad. Cool. Grab this as your raid message if you would, pretty please. We're going to go raid over to Colleen. She's a Canadian who loves doing live music. Really, really talented. Really good music. Really chill kind of vibe. My Palea character did not learn not to ride a horse in a bikini. Okay then. Yeah, I'll my character is definitely not going to be riding a horse in a bikini either. So cool. We'll catch everybody over on Colleen's channel and we'll see you all on Sunday. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Cheers.